Hi everyone, welcome to my channel. My name is Sylvia. I am a cancer survivor and thriver, and here on this channel I'm going to share my journey with you, so hopefully it can inspire you to make better choices for a healthier lifestyle. In today's video, I'm actually going to share my cancer story with you, from when I got diagnosed to the treatment I took, the steps I followed, how I found myself, how I found my faith, and how, by the grace of God, I'm standing here today in front of you sharing my story. About 3 years ago, a month before my 33rd birthday, I was diagnosed with breast cancer stage 3B, HER2 positive, which is known to be the most aggressive type of breast cancer, the one that is most unfortunate in terms of prognosis. At that time, I was in a really bad place in my life. I was very negative. I was very disappointed with myself. I couldn't find my inner peace. Everything seemed fine from the outside. I had like the perfect life. My career had just taken off. I was living my dream. I had just gotten married. So everything seemed fine from the outside, but inside I was extremely hurting. I started feeling pain under my arm, and of course I didn't think any of it. At the time I was in a high volume hair salon, and my left arm was my dominant arm, so I thought I just overworked my arm. I was working out a lot too, so I didn't think any of the pain. A week after, the pain would not go away, so I decided to go and see my doctor. So my doctor seemed really concerned. It was a huge lump under my arm. It was extremely painful, and so he decided to send me for more investigations. After getting an ultrasound, a mammogram, a biopsy from 2 different places, one in my breast and one in my lymph nodes, I was diagnosed with breast cancer stage 3B, HER2 positive. This was the moment when I felt like my whole world was coming apart. I was in complete shock. This was so unexpected. I was so healthy. I was eating healthy. I was taking care of myself. I was working out daily. I just couldn't see this coming. I didn't have the conditions to get breast cancer at all. Especially because in my family, nobody had breast cancer, so this was not a genetic thing. I was in complete shock for about 2 weeks. I just couldn't wrap my head around it at all. This is when I started to pray like I never prayed before. I was always a religious type of person, but I've never prayed like this ever in my life. I felt extremely disappointed with myself. I couldn't look at myself in the mirror. I couldn't shower by myself. I couldn't sleep at night. I felt almost dirty just by being diagnosed with breast cancer. I felt like I failed myself. Like I said, I was praying a lot, and I was looking for hope. And those moments when I was praying, those were the only moments when I could find peace. Thank God I was surrounded by a lot of love. I had my family by my side, my husband, my co-workers, my boss at the time. Everybody was by my side and wanted to help me with everything that they could. So I actually got to see the best doctors in the area. I got to go to the best surgeons in the area. I got to be in the best hospital, even though I had no health insurance whatsoever. So God had worked his way to open the doors for me to go and see the best doctors out there. So step by step, I started to see the light on this situation. I felt so loved and so supported, and I knew I could do this. I wanted to find the inner strength to do this, to fight this, because at the beginning, I saw this whole cancer situation as a bad luck, as something that was brought onto my life unexpectedly, something that I didn't welcome at all. I wanted to fight this out. I wanted to cut my breasts out. I wanted to take this out and be done with this. So I started chemotherapy, and that was the time when I actually got to spend time with myself, getting that treatment done. I had 4 bags going in at a time every 3 weeks, and it was like an 8-hour process. So I would just sit there for 8 hours and read and pray and connect with my mom and my husband, whoever was there for me that day. And I had a lot of things to think about. I started to see a therapist. I went to church and I found my priest. I started to put in the work because I decided that maybe somehow I brought this upon myself. Maybe somehow I'm responsible for this. Chemotherapy actually gave me time to start looking up my disease, because before that I didn't want to look up anything on Google. You know, nowadays if you go on Google and you look up headache, it will definitely be cancer. So I didn't want to do that, especially with my prognosis. I didn't want to hear any of this. But at this time I was ready. I was ready to face the reality. I was ready to face the challenges I had upon me. So I decided to, you know, look for people that had been through this, look for ways to how to get through chemotherapy easier. And so looking and searching and start reading, I came upon Chris's channel. Chris Beats Cancer here on YouTube. He has a great podcast, and that was an eye-opening for me. That was my light of hope, because I didn't know how to grasp all these information and this whole diagnosis. I just didn't know how to get the grip of it. But finding Chris and finding his story gave me hope. And I thought, if he healed cancer and if he's cancer-free now, I can do it. He's not more special than I am. I am just as loved by God that he is. So I decided to put in the work. I decided to stay committed and do whatever he did to heal myself. I spent a lot of days with a therapist and healing all those childhood wounds, and healing myself from within, and healing my soul, and aligning my mind, my soul, and my body together, because they were just running in different directions. And I started to spend time with myself. I started to pray more, to read on God's word and on his promises, and I started to make the connection and connect those dots. You know, Chris's channel and Chris's program and his books, they talk about changing your lifestyle completely. And I was committed to that. I wanted to change my lifestyle, and I knew I couldn't heal cancer in the same environment as I got sick in. I wanted to change. I wanted to improve myself. I wanted to improve my lifestyle. So overnight, I went completely plant-based. I started with a raw plant-based diet for the most part. I started juicing. I bought all these books about juicing, smoothies, plant-based, veganism, Gerson therapy. I started to do them all, but with no support. I only had Chris's story in the back of my mind, and that was it, because my oncologist was not supportive of that. He said to stop juicing because he will fight, the juicing will fight the chemotherapy. So they were not supportive of that whatsoever. So I took my life in my own hands, and I decided to give this a try. And yes, it was a huge risk. I was playing, you know, all my cards, and I was basically going all in, but I was ready to do anything. I was ready and I was willing to do anything to heal myself. And I came to the realization that cancer was not brought upon me, that those cancer cells, they had modified from regular cells because of the stress I was putting onto my body, the bad food I was eating, even though I was considered to be eating healthy. I didn't have a eating routine. I would eat in my car. I would always snack. I would never, have time with my food and spend time with my food and, be thankful for my food. I would just eat, to basically go and do my job and be done with, this like 5-minute situation. I just wanted to get going. So I started to notice, how my life was and what got me here, in fact. And if I was to change everything, I was willing to do it. And this was the time for me to change it. So I bought all the books out there and the treatments and the plans, and I start looking up people on YouTube, and I start exercising, and I start going for walks, and meditating on God's word, and I start doing the work and healing myself from within and facing my problem and talking to my parents and bringing things up and talking about my issues. I just had to face myself, and this was the time to do it. I found hope for the first time in a couple months. I found hope. I wanted to be dedicated because I knew deep down I could do this. I was so strong, and I became stronger and stronger day by day because I would see results. People will show up to my house and with food and being supportive, and friends calling me and clients helping me out with doctors. Everybody was there for me. They started doing a lot of events to fundraise for fundraising, money, and everything was just like coming together, and I was getting everything done that I wanted. And so I started reading about alternative treatments. I started looking into those. I started juicing. Like I said, I was juicing a lot. I was working out a lot. It was tough, especially after going through chemotherapy, to work out or to stay on like a health path. But I was very, very committed. I decided to take massive action and listen to my body and listen to my heart, because the truth, it's always within us. It's always inside of us. It was very painful. It was very hard. It was very exhausting on my mind, to be honest. For me, cancer and like the whole chemotherapy wasn't as hard on my body. It was just very, very hard on my mind, because I had to get up again and again and again, and every time I will fall, I had to put myself together and just work through it and just fight some more. I knew cancer was a message for myself. I knew it was the messenger to wake myself up. And I didn't know why. I didn't know why was it in my breast. I didn't know why it came in my life, but I stopped asking and I started doing the work. I started to listen to my body and talk to my body and talk to myself and face myself in the mirror. I knew I had to change my lifestyle. I knew I had to change my attitude, my food, my perspective. Everything had to change. I wanted to nourish my body. I wanted to take care of my body. So that's why I went and I follow a plant-based diet, because I thought all those foods, like all those leafy greens and all those like beautiful berries, could actually help my body, could actually nourish my body, cannot harm my body at all. Even though going through chemotherapy, you are advised to eat a piece of cake if you want to, eat pancakes in the middle of the night if you crave pancakes. That made me wonder though, like that kind of advice made me ask like a big question. Like, how is this healthy? How am I helping my body if I'm feeding myself cake, like loads of sugar, when cancer actually thrives on sugar? All these advices that I was giving. Plus, in the hospital, when you sit down and get chemotherapy, they come in with lunch. And so your options for lunch are like turkey sandwiches, chicken sandwiches, chicken salad sandwiches. You get a bag of chips with that, a soda can, and a chocolate chip cookie. So just looking around, it made me wonder, like, is this really the way to go? I'm just sitting here doing nothing, actually ingesting all these like junk food and getting chemotherapy and hoping that this is gonna be it, this is gonna heal me, and that's it. That's not right. It is easy, honestly, to go get chemotherapy. You sit in the chair. It's easy. Yes, the side effects are not pleasant at all, but you don't have to do anything. But when you want to change your life, you want to change your lifestyle, you want to, try to eat different foods, look up recipe, cut up all those vegetables, go grocery shopping every other day. That is work, that is commitment. So I knew this chemotherapy, it's not the way to go. So after 5 sessions of chemotherapy, I decided to say stop to the traditional treatment, to traditional protocol. After chemotherapy, I was recommended to get double mastectomy plus the chain of lymph nodes taken out, followed by radiotherapy, and followed by 5 years of a hormone blocker pill. So I decided to say stop, and I decided to say no to all of that, even though it sounded really, really crazy, even though I had no backup plan and I had nobody besides my family and my friends to support me on that. All my doctors thought I was crazy. I was just going cold turkey by myself, but I decided to say no to the conventional treatment. Now, I'm not saying you do that and you have to do that. This is me sharing my story because I want you to believe in yourself. Whatever feels right to you, whatever decisions you make because they feel right with you, just go with that. Don't make any decisions based off of fear. This is what my journey is about. I try to encourage you to just make decisions believing in yourself and stop, living in fear, because this is how I was living in fear all this time. That's why I was just so stressed, and that's why I couldn't figure out my life. And then even though when cancer happened, I was still living in fear, and I was making all these decisions based off fear. And so I decided to say stop to that. Of course, this was a lot of therapy sessions, a lot of, talks with my priest and a lot of praying, but this was my moment when I had to take control. I had lost my hair at the time. I was extremely skinny. I didn't like what I saw in the mirror. I couldn't see myself, but somehow I started to love what I was seeing in the mirror. And I started to love for who I was, with no lashes, barely any eyebrows left, with no hair, extremely skinny, extremely, my skin was completely dry. God had opened other doors for me. So I said no to the conventional treatment, but then I went to Romania and I started to do alternative treatments. So I did infrared sauna, high doses of vitamin C, vitamin B12, a lot of vitamins, and I did oxygen therapy. I did so much. I got the RGCC test done, that blood test that it's sent out to Greece, and what they do, they actually test chemotherapy and alternative therapies on the cancer cell and see what it responds to. And so I decided to take a different route, and I prayed a lot because I had no idea, I didn't know what I was doing. That I had read the Gerson therapy and Chris's recommendations, but I had nobody to back me up on this. So I started praying to find a dietitian or somebody to talk to, because I was taking all these supplements and I had no idea what I was doing, and I was just eating and juicing, and I'm like, what if it's not right for my body type or my blood type, or I had no idea what I was doing. So I finally found this amazing dietitian in my life, and she got me. It was that one person that actually understood my journey, and she knew exactly what kind of supplements I needed. She knew exactly what treatment plan to follow, and what the treatment should look like from now on, that since I'm not doing chemotherapy and surgery anymore, I started to see results actually. And I found this person who was very supportive of my lifestyle and very supportive of what I was doing, and she was so proud of me, and she gave me hope, and she made me feel proud too, that all this work that I was doing all these months, it was not for, it actually made sense. I started to love my body. I started to love my breasts. I didn't want them gone anymore. They were part of me. God made me beautiful. This was His gift. My body was His gift. So I wanted to take care of it. I wanted to nourish it. I wanted to be responsible for it. I read so much. I stayed so focused. I was so determined to heal cancer. And it was like my number one mission. Nothing and nobody could stand in front of me. Taking all these steps and taking this massive action in my life was crazy, and I needed support, and I needed to get rid of my fears. And again, God had worked miracles through people like my therapist, my priest, my dietitian, all my friends. Everybody was so supportive of me doing this and believing in myself that I was feeling stronger and stronger, and I felt like I'm growing wings and I can do this. Months went by. I stayed really focused, and of course it was time for me to get blood work done, CT scans, ultrasounds, and everything came back perfect. There was no sign of cancer. It looked like nothing was there. My doctors from Romania that didn't know the situation, you know, like my diagnosis from United States, they were in complete shock. They're like, no way, like this is, your breasts look amazing, your lymph nodes are back to normal. No, I can't believe. And this is not only 5 sessions of chemotherapy. The kind of cancer you had, the type of cancer you had cannot be healed with 5 chemotherapy sessions. And so everybody was in complete shock. I was in an awe, and I knew that, you know, this was God's plan. And of course it could have gone wrong, and I would have accepted it, because at the end of the day, you have to surrender yourself. And I think this is the key, because we live in so many, you know, we live in this environment and society wants us in a certain way, and we try to present ourselves in a certain way, and we stop living our truth and we live in fear. And so when you start living your truth and when you start believing in yourself, things actually shift and you see improvements in your life. So 3 years later, after a lot of your ultrasounds done, because I don't get mammograms anymore, I get ultrasounds, I get MRIs done, I get a lot of blood work and cancer markers, and everything is great, everything is fine. I am cancer free. I know there's no cancer cell in my body, but I still take care of my body to this day. I still follow a whole foods, plant-based diet. I enjoy eating this way because it brings me joy when I see all those colors in my plate. I spend time with myself when I eat. I am very grateful for every plate I have in front of me. I always bless my food. I spend a lot of time in prayer. I always meditate on God's word, and I always try to observe myself, and I always try to improve and better myself each day. So I hope you enjoyed this story. This is not me being special. This is not being me telling you that, you know, I did it because I have this special superpower. No, this could be you, because I couldn't believe that I was diagnosed with breast cancer. Like, this happened to me. And by the end of it, I realized that, yeah, cancer didn't happen because I was unfortunate or it was bad luck. It happened to me, to wake up, to find courage, to stay faithful, to fight, and stay dedicated. What I want you to take from watching this video, if you're going through cancer, or if you know somebody that's going through cancer, I want you to take this: believe in yourself, listen to your body, listen to your heart, because it only speaks the truth. And I hope you stay true to yourself, and I hope you make decisions that are not based off fear. You don't have to do what I did. You don't have to stop the conventional treatment and take a different route. This had worked for me. If you find peace in whatever you're doing right now, if you're getting your chemotherapy in, you got your surgery done, believe in that. Stay focused. Do the work. Believe in yourself. You can heal this. This has to go a little bit deeper than that. Everything is going to be fine as long as you trust yourself, as long as you surrender. Because if we do surrender to the unknown, we are actually opening our hearts up for more possibilities. And you will see miracles happening in your life. Have a little bit of faith and you will see miracles happen. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please give it a thumbs up, like, share, and subscribe, and I'll see you in my next video. Thank you so much for watching.